What up? It's your boy Wall Street, and I'm back. You cannot keep me off this microphone. I don't know how many times I have to say it, but I appreciate you tuning in, checking out my videos, and we're going to have a fun time. And today I want to talk about Billy Donovan and the Chicago Bulls, because Billy Donovan and the Chicago Bulls have agreed to a multi-year contract extension for him to remain as the head coach of the franchise. And I just don't know what this team is doing, right? No flack towards Billy Donovan. I think he's a very good coach, honestly. I do really believe that. But it's, the thing that usually happens when a team is mediocre in the NBA is they either try to sign a big free agent or they just start the rebuild process, right? They tear it all down, right? And I think the Bulls have done that to an extent. But it's going to be, in my opinion, a make or break year to see what's going on, right? Because personally, I didn't really understand their draft selection. They had I believe it was the 12th overall pick, and, they selected Noah Asenge. And Noah Asenge is currently only known for being the guy that got yammed on by Johnny Furphy in Summer League. So he's not off to a good start, right? And it's Summer League. Who cares, right? But it's just the Bulls continue to kind of be this laughing stock of the league. And, Chicago does not deserve that, right? Like the history of this franchise is it is a franchise that wins. It is a franchise that has a very high expectation for itself. And that just hasn't been the case these past couple of years. So I don't know if there's a big change coming. Obviously, we still don't know what's happening with Josh Giddey. I would like to think that he's probably going to resign. I'm not sure. But again, I think you have a decent coach in Billy Donovan. You have some decent players. It just doesn't seem like there's a plan, right? And you can't just navigate the NBA aimlessly, right? Because even if you're good and you're navigating aimlessly, you're probably not going to be able to get over the hump and beat the really cream of the crop teams in the league, like the Oklahoma City Thunder, or the Lakers, or the Denver Nuggets, or the Celtics, or the Knicks. It's just, you're not going to be able to do that, right? So I don't know what the direction is, right? But in Billy Donovan's NBA coaching career, he's coached 800 games in the league, regular season games, right? He's only coached 46 playoff games. And he's been coaching since the 2015-16 season. So this is going to be his 10th season coaching in the NBA. And he has a record in the regular season of 438 and 362, which is about a 55% win percentage. And in the playoffs, his totals are 46 total games, 19 wins, 27 losses, which is a win percentage of about 41%. So his best season was the first year that he was coaching in the league for Oklahoma City. And he had a pretty good record in the playoffs that season. Went 11-7, but lost in the conference finals. His regular season record was 55-27. They were first in the Northwest Division. But since then, he's, every time he's gotten back to the playoffs, he's lost in the first round. And then he's missed the playoffs the last 3 seasons, right? With the Bulls finishing 5th in the Central Division this past season. And finishing for their second consecutive season at 39-43, which is screaming mediocrity, right? So I don't know what they're going to do here, right? And I just think it's tough when you have a team that is kind of just stuck in this mediocre state for several years. It's really tough to maintain the same coach throughout that entire time period, right? It's hard to ascend past it when you have the same voice in the locker room, right? And I'm not saying it's right or wrong to get rid of your coach every time your team starts, performing poorly, because if that was the case, I think there'd be plenty of teams in the league. Like the Wizards have had the same coach now for 2 seasons, basically, right? And they've been awful right, in terms of their win-loss record. But they're trying to build with that guy, Brian Keefe. I'm a fan of Brian Keefe, and I think, that's what they're trying to do, right? So it's not impossible, right? But if the Wizards, keep losing and are at the bottom of the bottom for the next 5 seasons, Brian Keefe is probably not going to have a job on that team, right? So again, the Bulls are not at the bottom of the bottom, but it's almost better to be at the bottom of the bottom than to be in the middle of the pack in the league, because you're not getting high draft picks, right? And the thing that's messed up is that the Bulls were basically like one ping pong ball away from getting Cooper Flagg this past season, or in this draft for this year's draft, and the Mavericks got him, right, because the Mavericks won the tiebreaker between the Bulls. I think they had the same record, so it's just, maybe it was just an unlucky draw. Maybe if, the cards were different, the Bulls would be in a much better position going into next season, but it is what it is. Again, I like Billy Donovan. He's a guy that's had a lot of success at the college level. He just hasn't had that level of success at the NBA level yet. But he's the guy that, basically led Florida, the University of Florida, to their back-to-back championships in 06 and 07. That was a team with, Corey Brewer and, Joakim Noah, Al Horford, all those guys. So he can be a good coach. He just needs the right group. And I think he's been in the NBA long enough as a coach to understand what it takes. And I don't think the front office is necessarily supporting and figuring out what they need to do. But hopefully they turn around. Like I said, Chicago, great basketball city. Obviously, Michael Jordan made Chicago what it is. Shout out Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman and, Ron Harper and all these guys that, contributed to that along the way. But, I think the Bulls need a plan. So congrats to Billy Donovan. I'm glad he got his money. He's counting that paper, and he's going to continue to be a NBA head coach for, hopefully at least this season. We'll see what happens after that. But, teams are just signing coaches now, and they just, get rid of him the next day. But he'll still get his money. So Billy Donovan's probably cool. But let me know what you guys think, man. What do you think about Billy Donovan signing a multi-year extension with the Chicago Bulls? What direction do you think the Bulls are trying to go in for the future? And what do you think they need to do to really get back to the top of the Eastern Conference? I want to know your thoughts in the comments down below, so please hit me up, hit my line, if you will. And I'm going to catch you guys later, man. Stay up, stay blessed, stay safe, stay humble, handle business, stand on business. Peace out.